VOA News. I'm Christopher Cruz reporting. Turkish officials say they are now investigating the disappearance and possible murder of a Saudi Arabian journalist. Reuters correspondent Emily Wither reports.
President Tayyip Erdoğan's only comment so far is that he's closely following the case. Reuters Turkey bureau chief Dominic Evan was shown around the consulate this weekend as Saudi officials continue to insist that talk of his kidnapping is baseless.
They took us from the top to the bottom of the building. It's a 4-story building. It was obviously an unusual event. They said they had never before opened their doors in such a way. It clearly was an unusual move for them, and it reflected their efforts from their perspective to show that stories or rumours that Jamal Khashoggi had been abducted or was being held inside the consulate were not true.
Saudi officials insist Khashoggi left shortly after he entered, but his fiancée, who was waiting outside, says he never came out.
Turkey sought permission Monday from Saudi Arabia to search its consulate in Istanbul. It's not immediately clear whether the officials were granted access to the consulate after the request. The American Secretary of State Mike Pompeo was in Beijing on Monday, meeting with Foreign Minister Wang. Pompeo told Wang that the United States has grave concerns about China's recent actions. Wang accused the U.S. of escalating trade tensions with China. The Taliban has ordered its fighters to attack officials and security forces helping to organize this month's parliamentary elections in Afghanistan. The terrorist group denounced the process as fake. The long-delayed elections are scheduled for October 20th. This is VOA News. Polish activists met with lawmakers Monday in Warsaw to demand that Catholic priests convicted of sexually abusing children be punished. They also want the statute of limitations for prosecution in such cases to be extended. The Italian government says it will not allow planes carrying migrants from European Union member states to land in the country. The country's new leaders say the EU needs to share the burden of migrants. Correspondent Sabina Castelfranco reports for VOA from Rome.
Labour Minister Luigi Di Maio said he did not know who authorized these charters because on the matter of secondary movements, which has been the subject of Italy's talks with the European Union that were requested by Germany, no agreement has been signed. Di Maio added such an agreement is required before any such charter flights can take place. Italy and Germany have been working on a deal under which Germany would send back to Italy migrants who have already applied for asylum in Italy, but the accord has yet to be signed.
A report by the UN's Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change warns the world is heating up faster than predicted. Correspondent Lisa Schlein reports for VOA from Geneva.
World Meteorological Organization Secretary General Petteri Talas says there is still time for people to change their behavior to keep carbon emissions from rising. He says preventing the global temperature from going up by 1/2 degree would make a huge difference in the well-being of the planet.
There would be 420 million people less suffering because of climate change if we would be able to limit the warming to 1.5 degree level, and we have certain areas in the world which are extremely sensitive, small island states, Mediterranean region, and also sub-Saharan Africa, which are already suffering and will suffer the most in the future.
President Trump has again described the Midwestern city of Chicago as essentially lawless. Associated Press correspondent Warren Levinson reports.
Violence in Chicago is one of the president's favorite subjects. He told the International Association of Police Chiefs he's asked Attorney General Jeff Sessions to, in his words, help straighten out the terrible shooting wave in Chicago. But he says he already knows the solution.
Stop and frisk. It works, and it was meant for problems like Chicago.
Trump said the practice turned around New York, where crime has continued to drop well after local police stopped detaining thousands of innocent men on little evidence. In Chicago, which according to the FBI has the nation's 24th or 25th highest murder rate, both murders and shootings have fallen this year.
You can find more on these and other late-breaking and developing stories from around the world, around the clock, at voanews.com and on the VOA News mobile app. I'm Christopher Cruz, VOA News.